You cannot be controlled or programmed. And people are going to see you as a problem because of these bare facts when it comes to you. You cannot be controlled. People cannot just tell you what to do and then expect you to perform in this fashion. People cannot dictate how you live your life and then expect you to just kind of, fall victim or succumb to their ideologies or succumb to their, aspects or their thoughts of what they think you should be living like. No, you cannot be controlled, nor can you be programmed. All right. And so when I talk about programming, um, I'm sure a lot of us has had to deal with, growing up and being brought up in situations perhaps where you didn't really have a say or you didn't really get a chance to express varying views or different stances that you may have had. You were just told that you had to do this, you had to be this way, you had to perform to this degree. And if you didn't, there were going to be consequences or there were going to be problems for you. You were going to get reprimanded or punished for not falling in line with the programming or not falling in line with the control. Okay. People started to realize that you were not somebody to control. You cannot be controlled. You cannot be programmed. And, we're in the present day. So perhaps there was some programming and there was control in the past where we may have felt like we had no choice but to fall in line, but to follow the regimens, but to follow the practices of people who are telling us to. It could be family, it could be romantic partners who believe that you gotta be only one way, you can't be doing too much out here, you can't be going that high, you can't, and so it could be just society in general, the world, being conditioned to believe certain things that may or may not be true or may have more depth to it. People don't want you to go into the depths of what it is that perhaps you are kind of having a rebuttal against, right? Like, for example, if people want you to live a certain way and you're telling them, nah, I'm not going to do all that because I have this type of way, it's kind of like, people want to get at you, people want to target you because they don't like the fact that you're going against the norm or you're going against the status quo and you're not willing to fall in line with what they expect you to do. Society as a whole, conditioning can be, it may take long, it may take a while, but conditioning, I believe, can be undone. It could take a long time to undo the damage of just seeing things one way, being only one way. Mind your P's and Q's, sit up straight, shoulders back. Like this is Matilda, Miss Trunchbull from Matilda. It's like, no, right? We had to rewire our brains in order to free ourselves from the confines of these sometimes very harsh conditions, sometimes very strict, sometimes very, very rigid, practices that people have forced us to partake in or to be a part of or to make a part of our identity. People are starting to see now that they actually cannot control you anymore. So perhaps you've been labeled recently as rebellious. Let it be known if people are trying to make it seem like you are rebellious, or you're going through a stage of rebellion because now you no longer wish to be programmed or you no longer wish to be controlled in any capacity. When you start speaking up about what no longer serves you, or you start speaking up about you about to take the reins of your own life and you're not about to, let somebody else dictate how you're going to move, you're going to be met with backlash with people who are actually still controlled, still programmed. A lot of times you're going to find that you cannot have a normal conversation with these individuals because of the heavy programming, because of the heavy conditioning, and if you know about human psychology, let it be known if you've studied psychology and if you've learned about conditioning and the effect that it could have on the human mind. Conditioning is very powerful. We've all been conditioned to a certain degree, and we are going to start seeing as we go on our journey that there are certain aspects of our life where conditioning has presided over that, it's not working out for us anymore because we're actually longing for freedom and we're longing to do things our way and we're longing to go our own way and not be bound to the strict practices of society or the strict practices of our families. And they're going to get mad at us and we're going to get that backlash because they're going to be thinking that we're doing something wrong or we're making the wrong choice because They might be thinking we're making the wrong choice because, they're all safe doing the same thing, all the conditioning programming practices, but we're not. So people are going to be looking at you like you're a problem, like you're trying to complicate things, or like you're being difficult. Let it be known if you've been labeled as difficult. Let it be known if you've been labeled as rebellious, okay? Through you not being able to be controlled anymore, or for you doing unconditioning yourself, right? And there's no hate towards these people a lot of the times too. There's no hate. Bottom line is, everybody could believe in whatever they want to believe. But when it comes to like societal regimens or mass programming or things of that nature where everybody's just supposed to fall in line with no questions asked, perhaps that's a problem for a lot of us here on the Mindset Elevator. Let it be known if that's a problem for you. When you start stepping away from the problem, perhaps one of the things you've been experiencing is just a lack of forward movement, a lack of control in your own life, feeling like someone else is running your life. Somebody else is telling you how to live life. Somebody else is trying to make it so you have to rely on them to go ahead in life. Let it be known if people are trying to control your journey, control your odyssey, try to have a harness on you to see how far you actually are able to go. Let it be known if you've had to deal with that, and if you finally taken the reins and then now they're mad, all right? Because it could be like that. Folks are pissed off, okay? They're mad because you cannot be controlled. They get actually very animated, very angry, very volatile. They'll be really bent out of shape that now this person who could have been, you could have been the person who could have been controlled, programmed, easily manipulated, easily brought into a situation where, you could have just been doing what everybody else was doing because you were forced to, or because you had no say. And now that you have that voice, you found your voice, you are the voice, all right? Now people are getting angry at you. People might be getting really upset with you because you're speaking out about ill practices, or perhaps you're exposing that some of the conditioning and some of the regimens and practices that you've been a part of are actually no good for your mind, no good for your body, no good for nothing, right? So people are going to be feeling threatened that perhaps you're speaking too much, or you're exposing these practices. And a lot of times these individuals who have programmed you and conditioned you and controlled you for so long, a lot of them know that it's wrong. Like, a lot of them are completely aware that the practices that they are involved in are less than savory. That's why a lot of the times you'll see them doing these practices in the shadows, or like this is what they do behind closed doors. They try to hide some of the conditioning and practices that they do. But when they go out there in the community, let it be known. I've seen a lot of you talk about the church as well, and talk about, when people go to church and you see how they act at church, you could see that, them off the premises, and they're not like that. They behave much more poorly than what they portray in a sanctuary type of place, right? So that's one thing I notice a lot of you have said in the past. Let it be known if you've seen this, if you have witnessed this, where there's just a lot of practices and conditioning and control that happens, but then they make it seem like it's a good thing and it's a wonderful thing and it's the right thing to do. And a lot of the times that perhaps they hide the extent of the programming, the extent of the control, or the effects of the control. They hide that behind closed doors because, why would they hide it unless they knew that it was poor? It was not good, right? So a lot of these people, they know what they're doing. They know that they're a part of something that is foul, unsavory. They know that they're a part of something that is brain numbing. They know that they're encouraging something that is detrimental to your brain, but still here they are pushing for it, shaming you when you don't want to take part in it anymore, when you finally want to be free. And let it be known in the comments and say, no one's going to compromise my freedom. I'm going to go my own way, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to be controlled by no man, no woman out here. All right. People are upset because you can't be controlled, and you have gotten rid of, you've undone the programming. That's really hard to do. For somebody like you, let's give you a clap, all right? Because it is so terrible what this can do to our brains, especially when it's happened since you were a child, or since you were a youth, or if you were in a long-term relationship, a lot of conditioning, a lot of toxic behaviors. that affects, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not I'm not a mind doctor or a therapist or anything of that sort, but I can deduce it must be very damaging to the brain to be in these situations where you are forced to perform and be in a certain way, be in a certain configuration without none of your special flares, none of your special qualities ever making an appearance. It could be damaging to your brain. And then whatever damages your brain affects how you move. It's a very toxic thing, right? So good on you for recognizing that this cannot continue in your life and that you had to take the reins and undo the programming and let go of the control, or let go of people who are trying to control you, or situations that have such a grip on you that it feels like it's controlling you, and finally getting everything in order. Congratulations, everybody. Okay, congratulations. Raise a glass, make a toast. Your life is going to get much, much sweeter because you've taken the reins. And whoever has a problem with it, then, oh, well, they can run their life how they wish, and you have the same right. And so utilize that right to your highest advantage and continue to flourish in your world, continue to traverse down your own path where nobody can tell you nothing, okay? And say that, put in the comments, they can't tell me nothing. I'm going my own way. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay up, everybody. I hope you guys are enjoying February 2025. Stay up, stay elevated, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye.